Welcome to Embracing Infinity, exploring the infinite oneness in the space of love and truth. Host Jennifer Rose is an international spiritual medium, healer, channeler, mentor, and transformational guide. Her focus is encouraging individuals to know themselves within the lens of their divine heart and highest potential, to evolve within the frequency of love and peaceful harmony. Now, here's your host, Jennifer Rose.
Hello, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everybody. How are you doing today? So happy to see you on this beautiful summer Friday. Um, I am delighted to be having our guest coming on very shortly, Miss Dayna Louise. She's absolute beautiful soul. And she is joining us from Australia, where it's Saturday at 4 in the morning. So we're going to give her so much love for making the effort to be with us here all today. So I'm so excited to have her on shortly. But first, I would love to just say hello to everybody who's coming on today. Annie's here. Hey, Annie, how you doing, girl? Mary John is here. Beautiful. Iris, hello. Good to see all of you. There's Miss Fran coming on. Hello. Jennifer McCormick's here. Excuse me. I got a frog in my throat. Hi, Jennifer. There's Miss Nancy. Hi, Nancy. You don't want to miss Nancy, guys. In at about an hour after our show ends, Nancy's going to be on the Psychic Hour with Kelly Brickle at 1 p.m. Pacific. So have some lunch and then head back over to see the two of them doing their magic with the readings here today. It's going to be really beautiful. There's Jeffrey. Hi, Jeffrey. Good to see you. Thanks for joining us. And Iris and Mort are back again. Oh, so good to see all of you. Thank you all for being here today and sharing space. I know it's summer. It's Friday. It's the day after 4th of July for a lot of us. It's a holiday weekend, and here you all are here today. So I just want to thank you for your presence and your love and support. It means like the world to me. So thank you. And I'm looking forward to chatting with you for a little bit. About what we're going to talk about, at least for the next few minutes here today. But first, just a couple of quick announcements. Again, the Psychic Hour is going to be on at 1 p.m. Pacific, which is 9 p.m. in the UK. Our next Embracing Infinity will be next Friday, and we've got Miss Debbie Romero and Nancy Muratalla coming back on again for the three of us, because last time we had Melinda and Fran on from For the Love of Spirit, which is my Sunday service. I wanted to bring Nancy and Debbie in as well for another show. So we're going to have a lot of fun. That will be next Friday, same time. And you don't want to miss Transcend with Debbie, also on the Sacred Spiral Network, every Wednesday at 11 a.m. Pacific time. With that, we've got some more friends coming in. Looks like Trish has joined us. Thanks for being here, Trish. Hi, Courtney. So great to see all of you. Hello. Beautiful. So I'm just going to chat for a few minutes because I know we're all excited to get to have Dayna here with us here today. But I've had some interesting observations that have kind of shown up for me in the past few weeks, and I'm curious to see how Spirit's going to let this move through me so that it can flow in a way that hopefully like makes good sense and you can all resonate and connect with it. So last night I went out to see fireworks with my people. Had a great time. We're on the beach. The surfers are on the water, in the moonlight, just, on their boards, waiting for the fireworks. Everybody's happy. The families are all together. The fireworks are magical. And I'm very always lucky with parking, because when we get there, the parking is just like full everywhere and there's cars everywhere trying to get in. But I'm like, don't worry, everybody. I got an in with the higher ups. They'll help me find a parking spot. It's okay. We got this. And I was right. I was true. The magic happened. I knew what to do. I knew where to go and who to ask, because I saw a parking attendant who was on her phone, and I'm like, I got her attention, and I said, hey, you got some people leaving. Can I come in now? And she let us in. So we got really lucky. All right. So fast forward, we're coming home back to our car, and we're very lucky. We don't know this at the time, but we're very lucky. Hey, Miss Debbie, good to see you, girlfriend. We're very lucky because we're actually able to back out the car. And what we don't know exactly, the parking angels are fabulous, but I could have used them afterwards because it was massive traffic jam on the way back. That means everybody's wanting to leave at the same time. Multiple parking lots are trying to get out onto one street to leave, and everybody wants to go home because it's nighttime and we, have to go to work the next day and everything, right? And so it was very interesting to observe what everybody was doing because we were essentially trapped in the parking lot for about an hour before it finally started moving. There was nothing that anybody could do. Thanks, Debbie. It seemed like the right color. Wait till you see how me and how Dayna and I matched today. Thank you, love. Um, anyways, my dears, so here we are in this trapped parking lot, and we've been celebrating freedom, but now we're trapped in this parking lot. And you can imagine, people want to go home. People probably got kids in their car, what that was like for them. But we just waited in line. We went through the whole 99 bottles of beer on the wall tune, all the way down to 0 bottles of beer, and only moved about 1 or 2 parking spaces. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of a chuckle. And it was like one person in the car started it, and then another person joined, and then another. And next thing you know, we're all singing this, we're laughing, and we're frustrated at the same time. And we only moved 1 or 2 car spaces, and we got through the whole song. I'm talking 99 all the way down to 0. So hopefully you get a little laugh out of this. Anyways, fast forward. We just played music to kill the rest of the time after that. And when you got people who are younger than you playing, they like to play their rock music on, and I love all kinds of music too, but the music got harder and louder as we went on, because it was a great way to like channel the frustration of waiting and then watching everybody who was doing some crazy stuff trying to get out even when they couldn't. So people were taking cuts and forming lines to circumnavigate one line and try to cut through to this line, which made everybody else feel a little bit like, hey, we're trying to do the right thing. Why can't we all just like wait, in harmony together, right? So people were doing crazy stuff to try to get out, and it only saved them about a few minutes. But this is human nature. We have a hard time maintaining patience. We have a hard time maintaining balance. And there was lessons that came out of this as I observed this. And one, this is what I noticed. Two, the city that we were in did not plan for this, yet they have these fireworks events every year. Number two, the city that I usually go to very well plans for this. It's a well-oiled machine. And if you guys have ever gone to different restaurants, you'll notice some restaurants, they've got your food, boom, boom, boom. The service is great. And others, it seems real choppy and things like that. So what I notice is some entities are very well-oiled machine. They're organized, they're led well. Everything is pre-planned. Everything kind of runs in a nice harmonic kind of way. And then you've got the counterbalance to that, which gets to be a little disorganized and chaotic. And it could go even to further extremes after that, right? I don't want to say one is right or wrong, because, in the higher perspective, everything matters and has meaning to it, and we can find the blessings in the struggles that we live in. So, there was a blessing that we were able to find a spot, and there was a blessing that we were together and we were happy and we were watching the beautiful view of the water, and the fireworks were magical, and we were taking selfies and pictures with each other, and all of those blessings. And then we had that hour of waiting where we were singing and listening to music together, and we wouldn't have had that hour otherwise. So there's always blessings that you can find. And we found appropriate ways to channel the frustration of the impatience and the waiting and watching kind of what other people were doing, because there are people who will mess with the flow. And if you're ever driving on a freeway, you'll know there's a flow, there's a rhythm, there's a harmony that happens. And then you're going to get some people who come in and they disrupt that harmony because they're in a hurry, and they're very much in their head and where they want to go, and they're zoom, 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 and they kind of disrupt the flow. And so being in the flow is a very peaceful, pretty common centered way to be. It's less extreme, and it helps us to move through life better. So this is just a real life example of the things that, because we talk spiritual concepts, but it's how we can apply them into our daily life, this 3D world that we all live in with our people that we're connected to, right? And how can we apply it to real world situations where we might get triggered and things can happen? This is where we're really using the muscle of our maturity and our spiritual awareness to help us in regular life, in this, everyday life of the things that we have to go through. And there will be moments where it's really easy to just kind of be like, this is okay. We've got this. It's fine. And then there are other days where your nervous systems may not be in such a good place and it's really harder to adapt, right? And so that's why I say I don't want to say that anything's right or wrong, but there are lessons and things that we can learn from all of this too. And when I look at people and I look at groups, whether they're small or large, how well they move together and run together, it says something about the sort of what I want to say is the frequency and the vibration of everybody's kind of like working together for good, for harmony, to get to a better place. And no one is really placing more value on themselves or the other people. Does that make sense? You're not saying you're more important, and you're not saying another person is more important, putting them on, higher than you too. And this is where we all work together in a beautiful way. And I know there's many of us here in the spiritual community are really trying to bring that togetherness, where there's less of the competition, less of the discord and things like that. And we're trying to bring people closer into more harmony. And I know that's what many of us are wanting, is more of this harmony, more of this peace, more of this calm. And so we absolutely can have that. But it will kind of start within too. So the more harmony you can have within because here we are a whole with so many parts, many facets, many different parts to our personality and all the feelings and the emotions, and go with that too. And isn't that such a beautiful, beautiful thing? But the more we can bring ourselves into harmony physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, the better our realities will show up for us around us too. So another concept that we get from this is we all ended up getting home. We all got to the same destination. We all made it out of the parking lot. Some cheated, some didn't. We saved a few minutes, we lost a few minutes. In the end, it didn't really matter. We all got there. And so it's just a smaller pinpoint of all paths leading to the same destination, as we are all on this journey together, but we will all end up back home with spirit, with more lessons learned, with more evolution, with more growth, with more expansion. And this is continuous, and it's beautiful, and it's magical too. And the last thing that I will leave you with, my beautiful friends, is that, as I spoke in a previous show, there are no ordinary moments, right? There are no ordinary moments. It's from the way of the peaceful warrior. So even this seemingly, frustrating experience of an hour, allowed me to see how everything was happening. But I also know one thing, is that there is complete and beautiful and perfect synchronicity within the universe with the way that spirit works. So for whatever reasons that we don't know, everybody got to where they were supposed to be at the precise moment they should have. And that little bit, did they really, really? How? Is there any randomness to this? But I will tell you this. If you see a license plate or a sign or something that was meant for you, and spirit draws your attention to that hummingbird, that butterfly, those numbers on the clock, that license plate, everything in your day had to synchronize perfectly to allow that to happen. And I love to use the license plate concept, because your day had to be timed perfectly for you to be on the road to see that license plate with that message, or maybe it's a bumper sticker, at that precise time. And that car had to be there at that precise time too. And all the other cars needed to not get in the way. So there is a beautiful divine force, so intelligent beyond our imagination. I'm starting to get the spirit chills with this, that has our back, that knows what to do, that knows what's happening to it. We are part of it. We are not separate from it. We are not victims of it either, although it may feel that way. And that's okay too, because that's all part of the human experience. But this divine intelligence is fascinating. It is beautiful. It is sovereign. It is, beyond our comprehension. But we are part of that. And this is why there are no ordinary moments. Everything matters. Everyone matters. All of you, every moment, every part of you matters. And this is why the one thing that gets me triggered in my little 3D life is when I see when I'm in situations where I'm feeling like, I'm what I'm going to say is not seen sometimes, and this could be just like being in a restaurant and not having the service that would be expected to where you're waiting for long periods of times, and that gets me a little triggered because I know everyone matters and I have a human personality too, and these are my experiences, and I know through my experiences, I learn and grow from them. And then hopefully I can share them with you and maybe they will help you as well too. That's why I want to say is everything matters. Ed, hi, universal communication. Beautiful. Amy, nice to see you. Thanks for being here today. And so please take that all in with you and just remember, you matter. Every part of you matters. All of the people you're connected to matters too. So let us all feel safe together. Let us all embrace each other. Let us all motivate each other. I know there's so much reliance on self, and we really want to develop that self confidence. But it is perfectly okay for us all to boost each other, to be each other's cheerleaders. I find that absolutely beautiful. I really, really, really do. And this plays out, with all of my beautiful friendships that I have. We all support each other, and it heals. It really does. It heals, and it helps us all to grow and expand. Um, I want to thank you for listening, and I just also want to say hi to everybody else who's joined us here, and thank you for all your lovely comments. Um, Let me see, Jennifer, I just wanted to there you go, thank you. She says, Jennifer, this resonates so much, and you're very welcome. All what you have just said is what I have been working on this week, watching so much Dolores Cannon lately, and I definitely elevated in my intuition this summer, just like you said back in March. Oh my gosh, I'm so happy for you. Isn't Dolores Cannon amazing too? Like, she will turn your mind into a pretzel the way she shows things that a lot of us may have not seen or heard. Or her books are very, very thick, but I highly recommend checking her out too. So I'm so happy for you too. And we're so blessed in so many ways to be in this community together. We really, really are. We need to help others get to this point. We need to help humankind. Exactly, Ed. And that's what we're doing. We're elevating and we're growing together. We're doing it together through teamwork, through so it's that internal work. Hi Trish. It's the internal work, and then it's also the work we do with each other. It's both. It really is both. That is the balance. That is the harmony too. And remember, this is a beautiful year, 2024. It's an 8-year. This is a chance to do things better than you did before. So cycles will always repeat, but what can you do differently now with your increased awareness? So this is a chance for reunions. This is a chance for healing patterns. This is a chance for healing relationships. This is a chance for doing things differently instead of avoiding. So let's take it. Let's take those chances and make it our best lives possible. So with that, hi, Stacia. Can we bring in the most beautiful Dayna Louise, who's here from Australia at 4 a.m. And I'm so happy to have her with us. So Dayna, please come in.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for that beautiful introduction,
Hi.
Jennifer.
Hi, Dayna.
What a lovely way to start this chat, this divine intelligence and your ability to observe it. I think that really is the gift, isn't it? And bringing our awareness to every moment where that divine intelligence is operating in our lives. Because I'll add a little story. I had something happen to me, not quite the same way as far as the car park angels, but I was picking it in Australia here. It's the end of the term, the school term. It's winter and we're going into a 2-week break. So I was there to pick up my son and I parked in this one spot. And as I got out, I noticed there was some broken bottles. It's quite a busy walkway past this school. Now, normally I'd duck in and get a dustpan and brush and try and remove it, out of the way of children. But it was a rush. Everyone's trying to get out of school as quick as possible, end of term. And something caught my eye as I'm looking at the broken glass. I saw this little orange, what appeared to be a little tiny orange ring. And I sort of tucked it away in my mind. I thought, I'll come back on the way back and see what that is. So I've picked up my son and walked back out the front gate. And I said to my son, darling, could you pick that up for me? What is that? And he looked at it and he goes, oh, he said, I think that's a hearing aid. I think that's this little fellow in year 2. And I said, well, we need to go back in. Now, as we went back in, there was literally only 5 students left. And as we're walking to the office, here is this little boy in year 2, frantically looking in his school bag. And I said, darling, is this your hearing aid? And he said, yes. And he was so grateful in that moment. Now, it's not a lost jumper. It's the ability to hear. And coming up to a break, he would have been without that ability to hear in the school holidays. So we have this divine intelligence. I parked at that spot. I left my house at that right time, at that right place. So this divine intelligence and even the awareness to notice something and not just overlook it, because we tend to do that a lot sometimes. We're receiving this intelligence all the time. But if we're not aware, we'll overlook at these little mini miracles that happen all the time that put you in the right place at the right time. So not quite the same story as far as getting a pup, but how beautiful to be part of that. What I'm so grateful to have been in that place at the right time. And just as you said, when we're having these moments and you have this wonderful display of fireworks, and all of a sudden, you know, you've got this long wait. So you've got these peaks and troughs that happens in life. Yes. And waves of energy. I mean, we're all energy, we're all vibration, and we have these peaks and troughs all the time. And if we look at it from quantum physics perspective, we know that we're all part of this whole, but we're full of systems. We have our respiratory system, our endocrine, all these systems. And then if we break that down, we've got atomic particles, subatomic particles. And the beautiful thing in this wave is that when those of like mass are drawn together, there's an annihilation that happens. But the scientists will observe light is born. So there's always love. There's always love. They witness light being born at the annihilation of this subatomic particle. So we have these crests that we move through in life as well, these peaks. It's just natural law. We can't have one without the other. But we tend to focus, when we talk about that awareness, we tend to focus on only the highlights, the high moments. Or equally, when we're looking over our shoulder, we may look at the past and observe things from difficult moments, the hardships, as you were talking about. And these hardships may have emotions attached to them, you know, guilt, shame, and we tend to carry and hold them with us. But equally, we're meant to be looking forward to the future. But for some of us, that can be a trial in itself because it carries its own fears, the unknown. So we're in this movement, this exchange that's happening all the time throughout life. And I think, you know, we want happiness, but more so it's that peace. It's that the ability to find grace in given moments, that gratitude that you bring to it. Yes. Like you singing the bottles, 99 bottles. Even as frustrating as that was, you were in that that understanding that grace is operating in all times, that the will of God
exactly
in that moment, and we're always going to rise to a peak and then drop back down again. So it is this dance that we do. It is like riding the wave. It's like I know
it really is.
Yeah, absolutely. So
Debbie's here. Hi, Stacia.
So we're into it already because your introduction. Really,
I know.
And the
yeah,
observation.
I knew it always works out. Yeah, absolutely. I know it always works out and connects. It's so beautiful, and you know, and I was saying that too. It is the constant, you know, birth and destruction, but the destruction is really just moving into the next birth. Again, I love how you frame that with a light being born. It's actually so beautiful. And, I think of things in terms of music a lot because I'm a huge music fan and I love all of the genres. And sometimes we're like Louis Armstrong, it's a wonderful world, that's when we're on the high. And then sometimes it's like Susie and the Banshees, all your cities lie in dust, and or somewhere in between. I love it too. And that is life. I think sometimes when we're on the journey, there is an expectation that, we can, like, for long periods of time or permanently sort of transcend the wave. I don't want to say yes or no, but I know we live in a world of duality and we're not separate from the higher self of us, which has the intelligence of what's going to happen or what should happen for us too. I know there are those transcendent moments where we come together in that beautiful love, and that sometimes it's in a very human way too, where we come and we are, in sync, one-on-one, in that beautiful, perfect, unconditional love. And those are those moments where I think we've transcended above it all too. And, those we hold very dear to our hearts too. I want to say hi to Sheila, who's just joined us too, and Jack and Mo May. Just want to say hi to everybody. So yes, Dayna.
Where was I going with that? It's 4 a.m. So this duality, you spoke of this duality, but that really is the expression of our journey. And just like you traveling, we're all on that journey, we all return home. And I think there's a gift in that moment when we have that awareness. It's really the gift of staying present in that moment.
Yeah.
In being, and I years ago, I remember a lady saying, "You're exactly where you should be." And I was having a terrible time at the time. And I thought, "Oh, well, fantastic. It's easy for you to say that." But really, as we observe life and we look for the spiritual understanding and the gifts in every day, we start to experience things from a place of gratitude. And when we have that understanding that the very nature of this physical embodiment that we have here is operating under that natural law of that oscillation of that wave, and that, cells die and they're reborn. There's always this movement. There's always change. And so we have to learn to ride that wave and find peace in the present. And honestly, for a long time, I found a difficulty in that. I was always looking behind, over my shoulder, examining my growth based upon the lessons, the experiences that I'd had, or looking to the future of where I needed to be. And just having that grace to be able to appreciate the day and look for the gifts that are already in it. And that's where I find my peace. And it's worth more than happiness. Yeah. It's like the myth of happiness. It's a fleeting moment. And it's when we decide that we're going to, I saw a gentleman the other day, and he was talking about when he was very unhappy and he'd been climbing the corporate ladder, trying to arrive at this place, the peak of that wave, looking for these stellar moments. And he said, "Well, I just want to be happy." And I said, "But you can be that now." And so it's a simplicity sometimes that, we're chasing feeling states, and really we have the ability and the wisdom to bring that to our present moment if we so choose to move our mind in that way. And it really is that movement of mind, the ability to still it, to observe things almost from a bird's eye view, taking a step back and really looking for the grace in every day and every moment. And even through hardships, there's always, change, birth. There's a gift in hardship that can happen. It's very hard to see it at the time, but it's like our shell has to be broken open. Otherwise, our soul wouldn't evolve and rise up to meet the challenge. And that there's gifts that are created by the very most difficult moments in our lives that would not have arrived unless we had that experience. And so we're a combination of all experiences, but it's the lens. It's the lens that we bring to the moment. When we're looking back to the past or we're looking to the future, that really gives us that gratitude in the day.
Yeah, correct. Mo is saying sometimes happiness is to be found in a completely different scenario that you were thinking due to stereotyping. So it's the current perspective and observation, and sometimes those perspectives are very narrow and sometimes they're very broad. And so again, there's the oscillating again. So sometimes we'll be very immersed in a feeling and an emotion, and the soul is like, yes, this is so cool, and we're like, you know. And then sometimes we're seeing it from above here and we're like, oh, okay, I can see it from above here. That's very helpful. And I think that's what we will build more and more over time, is that ability to kind of be aware of our thoughts. So even if we're in it, we know from the background, oh, this is temporary, this is an experience, because we are this beautiful collection of memories and experiences and emotions, and it's completely transformation. This is like, and then I know you're no stranger to transformation. You've spoken about it at our Sunday service several times, and it's the death is really such an illusion, because we're always shifting all the time, becoming like slightly different versions of ourselves, yet we still remain aware of self too, of who we are, of the culmination of us too. And then there's always so much more as well. Maria's on here. She knows you. She says, hi, such a gifted medium. There's beautiful. Nice to meet you, Maria. Thank you for being here today. Yeah. And Fulham's here too. Hi, Fulham. Thanks for being here today. I just want to make sure I've acknowledged everybody. You've got a lot of people who come on to see you and your friends here today too. So we have a really, really great group. So I know, Dayna, and you were saying it's early there and it's also winter there too. So you're experiencing, and so it's kind of, this is kind of nice, because we're in the middle of summer and we're like out in the sunshine trying to, like, you know, chase the weather, right? If you know, and you're now in the winter time too, and it's an opposite experience for you, yet here we are together. It says something, doesn't it?
Well, I think it highlights what we're talking about. You know, these opposites that exist and that are drawn together sometimes, and those opposites too may be equally experienced in relationships, that we may have things that need to grow or change. We often resist change. We're fearful of it at times. We like the stability of the same. But really, that's where the growth is, where we have these hardships or these challenges. That's where we get to expand our current understanding. And it really is a gift. It's very hard to see it at the time, but it is a gift nonetheless.
Yeah. Very true, Dayna. And, you know, I've always said many times that the darkness was my best teacher, you know, and I know people can look at that in a negative manner, but I always look at it as just the light kind of cloaking itself to show you a different experience, to show you the contrast, because, you know, we begin our existence in the womb. It is dark, you know, you're in a pool of darkness, and you know, a seed cracks open down deep in the earth in the dark, right? And that happens, you know, that process happens until you're birthed back into the light. And those of us, you know, we're all on the spiritual journey together. We know we might have 33,000 dark nights of the soul by the time we move on to spirit world. Yeah, you're in and out and in. But we all find our way.
That's right. And I think it's the ability too is not to resist change, but to go into that flow state, but to release and let go past versions of self. Because we're not who we were last week, last month, the year before. We all have this beautiful ability to show up in any given day and make changes, and changes in our belief system, changes in our thoughts. We have that power within us to do that. And sometimes we need, you know, the assisted help of someone like myself or yourself that helps move the mind when you're in that bottom trough, you're dipping out. And thinking that there'll never be another rise. But if you look over at all the past experiences you've had, even perhaps some of the most difficult days that you've had, whether it was losses or events, you know, look and analyze, because equally in that day or that time or that experience, there would be those that would be uplifting you and building you up. So there's that duality that exists in the experience, but our human nature holds on to, say, the trauma or the guilt or the shame, when really it was all operating at the same time. It's this duality, and it's the lens that we put to things. And when we have that ability to let the past be as it was, as a teaching tool. You know, there's that saying that people say, you know, when you're driving in a car, we're back to the car now, move my mind.
Yeah.
You know, when you're looking out the rear vision, it's actually smaller than the glass in front, because you're not going that way. You're going that way. And you're only meant to glance,
I love that.
you're only meant to glance over and check behind occasionally. But letting go the need to attach our sense of self to the experiences that we've moved and lived through. Because in this moment, you are the best version of yourself. And if you bring that grace of God, that gratitude with you, even when you're in difficult times and waiting and hopeful, you bring that grace and that hope that things will get better, that there's a better way as we go on this journey. And it really is, you know, harnessing these wayward thoughts. Because when we keep looking back over our shoulder at past experiences, the emotions are attached to these experiences. And in that moment, we revisit the emotion. All the chemicals flood through our body. And so we're re-experiencing that. So when we learn to observe our experiences and not attach our sense of self, good or bad, and remove the judgment from the experience, but bring love to the past versions of self that did the very best they could at that given moment, it kind of frees you up to evolve and transcend, you know, where you are at this point in life.
Yeah. Yeah. And I was just having that conversation this morning with a friend of mine. It's like the sort of the opposite to being in the flow is, you know, what I experienced last night was people were trying to force their way through. So they were resisting and they were attaching themselves to getting out. And I don't want to say it's wrong, because it's just part of, like, you do that to get to the other, to, you know, to learn from it too. And as Kachuk always says in Eat, Pray, Love, sometimes part of being in balance is being out of balance, you know? So then we go into that and twist this around too. But I think over time, we build more and more of that spiritual muscle of being in the flow. And because you have the outer awareness and the inner awareness sort of coming in together, that's letting you know, like, we don't have to lose all sense of, you know, get so immersed in it to that we feel like we're now out of control of the situation. You know what I mean? It's like, that's where you can, like you said, take a step back and transcend and be able to, like, handle things better and manage things better. And this is where grounding and getting the nervous system to regulate is good, you know. And in our little car there, you know, we were co-regulating together to get through the moment of the frustration, because we are all very sensitive people here too, and so we were also very aware of the emotions of the people around us, you know. And so co-regulating by singing the songs together, listening to the music together, things like that, we were learning how to do that, like, as a group too. It worked very, very well, so I'm very proud of her. I'm very proud of her, you know. And but that's what it is. It's like the opposite of the flow is you're resisting or you're attaching. And I don't want to say they're wrong, because then they make us feel bad about ourselves, like we haven't done it right. But it's like, over time, we develop more of the harmony, more of the flow, more of the awareness. I got this, we can do this, you know. And this is where our confidence and our self-esteem comes in, because it's like, you know, you can handle this. It's like, you know, I've got this, I can do this, I'm a good person. And if you can put those things together, you can move forward as well too. We've got more friends joining us too. Like, you've got a lot of people here, and it's a holiday weekend, Dayna. So I hope you feel special. Elizabeth, hello, Elizabeth. Ronnie, hi, Ronnie. Karen's joined us. Hello. Gwendolyn's come on too. So you've got so many friends. And I know some of them have gotten to see you before, because you've spoken and done mediumship at Sunday service before, and read all your beautiful poetry. So I do want to share all of the gifts, because, you know, you're a beautiful medium and a healer and a beautiful speaker and a poet as well. And I know, like, to create what you create and do what you do, like, you've been on the journey, you've done the work. You're not afraid of, you know, of being human and spiritual together.
Well, past versions of myself would not have believed that I'd be getting up and talking in front of that. Would be the last thing I think.
I know, me too.
So yeah, there's always growth, there's always opportunities, and the learning never ends. And usually when we think we've got it worked out, and I look back in my youth sometimes and I thought I'd arrived at an understanding, the universe has that wonderful way of going, oh, I haven't quite worked it out. And then, you'll have those experiences and it's that movement all the time. But I was thinking too, I'm going back to that car. I'm stuck in the car with you now at the car park. Vehicles, because they're looking at that destination saying, I need to be home and I need to be home now. So they're getting more and more frustrated. Whereas you had that gratitude and grace in the moment to appreciate the day that was had. And so you brought joy to that. And you release the expectation of it has to happen in the way that I deem it. And I think that's the gift in looking to the future, not with fear, but just accepting the present moment. And when you have that gratitude, what usually happens is the universe brings more opportunities to you and more graces to you because you're in that flow state. You're in that acceptance of what is. Because most of our difficulties and our struggles is when we are resisting that which is. Our emotional difficulties can become from that place of non-acceptance. And it is one of the most difficult things to do, learning to let go and accept what is, because we have this will and this idea of my life's going to be this way, it's going to go that way, and this is what it needs to look like. But when we respect and understand that there's this beautiful divine intelligence that's weaving this most beautiful tapestry upon our soul.
Exactly.
And when we release the need to put our colours exactly where we think they need to go and allow that movement to paint the life that is meant to be. And that's when we go into that flow state. That's when we start to have more peace. And that's really, that's one thing I would want for everyone here is to have the ability to be able to drop into that peace state at will. And that's one of the most difficult things as souls, because we've got this crazy life happening and everything's pulling on us. We have pressures, responsibilities, perceived stress about different things. But if we go into that state of surrender, we really have this trust and faith that the future will arrive, but not seeing it from the lens of this fear of the unknown, but the acceptance and understanding that the grace of God will move with you and hold you at all moments, because we're constantly riding that wave. And sometimes we'll be like the surfer, we'll be paddling out, we'll be on our knees. And other times we'll be soaring these giddy heights. But it's the grace to stay grounded as well, because I think a lot of, famous people or people in the media, there's a group collective pushed upon them that they are who they are at the top of the peak. And so they have that pressure on them to maintain that, which is why they get very disillusioned, because no human soul can. And it doesn't matter, even as spiritual mediums, we're very human. We have our up and down moments. I'm a mother and I'm not all love and light sometimes, I can tell you. It's just accepting and understanding that, I think. And we're all on the journey and we're all finding our way. And our really, there's an opportunity to try and find it with more peace and grace and not resist the changes that are always coming to us.
Yeah, beautifully said. Very poetic too. And I want to say hi to Mike too. He just got out of the hospital, so we're sending you mad love, Mike. So glad that you could join us here today too. And Mo May was saying, I think he's quoting from a book here too. When you let go of a situation, keeping only your side of the path clean, amazing things happen and peace prevails, from Joey Barton in his book. He's tried it in his work, and everybody is resonating. Let go, letting God. It's hard to believe, to let things go and hope that you made the right decision. It can be too. The flow, Jeffrey says the flow frequency is present somewhere in the mix. Gwendolyn's like, emotions can be crazy. They sure can. Oh my goodness, too. So everybody's like resonating with what we're speaking about here today, which is really quite beautiful. And I think too, if we have the opportunity to give back to others, to what we have learned, there's a song, Chasing Cars, one of my favorite, by Snow Patrol. And he says, I need your grace to remind me to find my own, and so the more, if we're able to experience those moments, if we can give that to other people too, because we want it for ourselves, and then to give that to other people too, just like we're having an opportunity right now to just remind people like, you're doing it great. You're doing okay. And maybe you could try this, or this is a gentle reminder that this might work well for you too, and then we can feel that. You see, I can feel the group here, and the energy just calms down. All the nervous systems calm down. And I know when I feel that in the atmosphere, that's when we've got truth. And like you say, the grace of God coming in too. It reminds me of the song Amazing Grace, So what a beautiful that gift that is, because even though we're in the middle of summer, there's a lot of people still going through really significant transformation right now and big life changes. And those of us who are on the spiritual path, like, that God puts us in the pot and stirs it all up, or he takes the chessboard and he goes, and people are having like massive changes happening in their lives, and it's a lot, and they're trying to be of service to other people and help people and do all of their work too. So it's a lot, but we're all doing a great job.
And I think the word service, I just honed in on that. How may I serve? How may I show up in that moment to be a benefit to someone else beyond yourself? And, we have these challenging experiences because there'll always be someone drawn to you upon your path that you'll be able to assist, because it's a lived moment. It's a true experience that you've moved through and moved beyond. So it's this being in service. And there's also a gift in that when we release expectations into the future and put them into rather, how may I serve, we can then it's almost like this weight of responsibility, or this pressure's taken off us, because we're showing up and just allowing the grace to move through us to assist others, because we really are put at the right place at the right time. You said there's no ordinary moments, and I absolutely love that, because that is the truth. And we're kind of vehicles for spirit. We're parked in the right place. We pull up at the right place, and we answer that call. But it's that attention, it's that awareness, and we create that in the stillness. And life is busy, it's moving all the time. But even in that car traffic jam with its cars, and you can feel the energy of the frustration, you're able to drop into that stillness and create a space within your own vehicle that trickled out and affected. And then suddenly everyone's doing it. So we have such a power within us that I don't think we truly appreciate, not just to move through our own stuff, but to change the state for someone else's day, and to gift that to someone else. And I think that's what I'm taking into the future with me. When you asked me originally, I thought, oh, goodness, 4 a.m., what will I have to say at 4 a.m.? I should be asleep. But
I knew you would.
But then I thought, no, this is inspired. I have to show up. And if there's one person that gets something from something that I say, then I've showed up for spirit. And so we have to trust in that we're at the right place at the right time, and bring as much of our soulful experience, not just the negative, but the duality of the beautiful people that held us in our darkest moments, and bring the grace and the love that we experience and forward that on to others as they go through their journey.
Amen to that. I'm right there with you. That's so beautiful too. And I so resonate with what you say. And I live my life where, I've gotten to the point in my own, expansion that I know that I'm living the plan, but I just don't know what the whole plan is. So and again, just because we're psychic and mediums doesn't mean we get to know everything that's going to happen in our story. It doesn't work that way. So, we're expected from spirit to live the story and let it play out and watch it unfold with a little help along the way. Just like Dorothy had, right? That's where we get the signs and synchronicities that kind of say, keep going, you're on the right path, and little guides come in the way to give you a little support, a little bit of wisdom and things like that. But we don't get to know everything. But there is a point in our own expansion and transformation where you realize that you're living the plan, you're experiencing it, and I'm able to trust that from day to day, everything's happening as it should, even if I don't always like it. But I know that I don't need to fight what's happening. I don't need to fight it, because I'm very aware that from day to day, it will unfold as it's supposed to. And I'm saying that doesn't make it easy. It doesn't mean like, la, 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 I have no feelings or emotions. I'm not a robot. But there is that awareness, and it's very helpful to have. And other people around me don't always get that, that I'm connected to. They may not see it that way. They think you have to really, you know, try to do more, or, and it's like, no, I'm aware that this is where we are today, and then this is where we are tomorrow, and this is, and it's not, I think it could be perceived, Dana, perhaps as like not caring or not trying, but that's not what it is. It's the awareness that you're part of a whole. Yeah.
Yeah, and when you bring that faith and that understanding, and you can observe it in your own life through your own experiences, the graces along the way, you start to be able to release that need to arrive at a certain destination at a certain time. And there's more of a peace. So even though you may dip down into these states, you tend to stay in that peace state a little bit longer because you have that understanding. And it's not something that just magically arrives. It's through all these combination of these experiences and understandings. But, when I talk about anything, it's because I've lived it, or I've had to find my way through. And even when I see people, as a spiritual medium or even a healing capacity, I've had to do the work for myself. Sometimes I've had to find tools along the way. And then, of course, then you'll see someone and you go, oh, well, that's why I learned that. That's why I had that experience. And that gives me that joy state when I realize that nothing is lost. There's no experience. There's no good or bad. It all is an act of love. It all is an exchange that happens between us. It's when we get caught up in this idea that we're a solo, and we're on the solo trip, that we have troubles, because it's all illusionary. The vehicle that we're in. We're coming back to vehicles again. We're using it symbolically, but the vehicle.
I know, right?
It's the theme. And I think there was an Indian guru. I can't remember his name. I couldn't even pronounce it if I did. But one of his students had asked him, "What is real?" And he said, "What is real is that which doesn't change." So really, we're all, if that be the truth, then we're all illusions, because we're always in that state of change. We're always evolving. We're always transcending, and there's that movement of life, and we have to allow that to flow.
Oh,
I've lost.
Hold on, love, you froze. Okay, there we go.
Oh, we're back again.
Stand with the flow.
I want to say to you, when we're talking about the ups and downs of life, we can have all these experiences, and it doesn't matter what that is, that past versions of yourself. Let them go, but bring the wisdom, bring the love, bring the humor. Life cannot take that from you. That is a choice that you take that with you on the journey, and find ways to show up. Take yourself out and put yourself in situations, even when you're going through difficult moments, when you, go to an uplifting theatre show or something. You have to, be your own salve, your own medicine sometimes, and take control of the vehicle you're in. And that's your mind. And it's that presence of mind and that ability to create the stillness and the observation of life, and that you're not alone on this trip. We're all on our way home. And we're all having challenging moments. Some of us are singing 99 Bottles on the Walls, and some of us are tearing our hair up. And that's okay. And
this is where the hard rock music came really in handy. We're moving into metal territory after that, and they're turning the volume up. I'm not controlling the music; they're turning the volume up, and I'm like, this is quite cathartic. This is great, because we were channeling all of the frustration, and I'm just like, this works. If you're a true music lover, you like all music, and but it was great too. But you reminded me of something too, of like how the dissolution and the illusions, because we spoke about this last week. I was quoting Einstein with that too. And Ronnie, who's here, I'm not sure if you're still here, Ronnie, but he sent me a little clip, because Ronnie is a friend of mine, and he likes to visit Belize a couple times a year. He lives here in California, but he likes to go to Belize. And so he sent me a little video of Belize to share with me. And this gentleman was interviewing a lady who has a restaurant there in Belize with the authentic food that they serve there. And he's like, well, what has been hard for you? And she goes, well, my restaurant burned down. And then he's like, well, then what happened? She goes, well, I built it bigger and better. So she rebuilt, but bigger and better. And that is what we're always doing. It's like, no matter how much, you know, the impermanence of things, watching, you know, what's the structures that, you know, the belief systems, the structures, the building, watching your castle crumble, you'll just build it bigger, better, shinier, more sparkly next time. And when you're down on the ground, flattened, even pushed into the soil where you're just like, tasting the dirt, it's hard to believe that that's even possible, but it is.
Beautiful, Jen. It's funny because we didn't discuss what we'll be talking about. And look, there's divine intelligence operating even through your observation, my experience yesterday, and what we're talking about. Because a little piece, it's more of a reflection than a piece of poetry, is pretty much aligned to exactly what we're talking about now.
I thought it would be. Yeah. Can you read it for us?
Sure. It's this isn't, look, I wasn't planning on this, and I actually haven't gone through it. I wrote it, never looked at it, dropped it last night before I fell asleep. It's called The Way. If you feel you have lost your way, it is not so. You are on your way. And with every day met, you find your strength. Strength to meet life's challenges, strength to face your inner world and outer. All confusion and struggle becomes an aspect of the mind. In truth, you are light, never-ending waves, oscillating between dual emotions. Isn't that bizarre we're talking about? Worthy, unworthy, happy, sad, confused, enlightened, all exist as waves of opportunity to arrive at the shore of your own soul's wisdom. Trust that a divine intelligence orchestrates your soul's evolution, your growth, your remembered light. All moments transcribed are collected and recorded. Your peace lies in the spyglass you choose to peer through your experiences. If you feel pain, you will notice pain in others around you, polarized to perceive that perhaps all is hopeless. Move your mind, examine and accept the duality of all past moments lived. For where there was pain, equally there also existed hope. Detach from your expectations and accept that which is in the presence, then peace arrives. All pain is born from a non-acceptance of what is. When we understand the duality that exists always as a natural expression of life, we may then surrender to the moment, the present. What a gift there is in that. May you meet yourself today with a new felt appreciation for all moments experienced, both the light and the dark, felt upon your way. New day, new you. Examine your thoughts, change your beliefs. They are not set in stone. Change comes to us all. The way is yours to decide what beliefs you take with you upon the journey. Free yourself from the heavier kind and rebuild a brighter, more enlightened mind. You have that power within. You decide your way. Day by day, show up, start afresh, and choose better thoughts and actions. Change is a gift. It is never too late to find within you a better way.
Mic drop. That's music to my ears, darling. Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you. Just a little something you just, wrote last night, just hadn't yet.
Well, I was just hoping I hadn't repeated lines because I didn't read over. I literally wrote it and then went to sleep. But isn't that beautiful? Because that divine intelligence has already woven this moment together. And even your story and the flow, it really is. Yeah. I mean, I look in wonderment and fascination at the beauty that exists in all moments. There are no ordinary moments, as you say.
There are no ordinary moments, and they're all beautiful. Even in the worst of the worst, there's beauty to be found because there is a light in everybody and everything. Jeffrey says, thank you, you too. I lost the quote. Jennifer says, beautiful. Thank you, Dayna. There you go, for bringing these wise and glorious words. Oh, thank you, Jeffrey. It's so kind of you too. So a lot of love here, a lot of resonance. Everybody's very, very appreciative too. Kelly has put in all of your information where people can reach you in the chat box for Facebook and for Instagram. And we look forward to seeing more of you, Dayna, too. And we're getting, close to the end of time. Is there any last minute words you'd like to leave us with? You've kind of said it all already, but anything else that you'd like to
just
do?
from my heart to yours, I just wish all of you peace upon the journey. And that's we can only ever wish that for anyone, is to find that peace within. And when we find that, we're more able to give that to another. And that it really is the beautiful thing about compassion and the exchange we have, is to pass on our understandings and our peace. Thank you for having me, Jennifer. I've really enjoyed.
Yeah, thank you.
It's been beautiful.
Thank you, Dayna.
And to all our
Beautiful,
listeners,
beautiful.
Thank you for chiming in.
Yeah, I love that. I think peace is what, we're all wanting, to feel more of, or wanting to embrace more within ourselves too. So everybody, please do take good care of yourselves, take good care of your body, get your physical self feeling good so that your nervous system can regulate, so that you can experience more of this higher expansion. It's really, really important. And please do take care of each other. Let's be kinder, gentler, and more compassionate and more forgiving of each other, because we're all doing the best that we can in any and every given moment too. So, and we're knock on the wall. So God, Big G is saying yes, please. That too. Please come on back at 1 o'clock Pacific, 9 p.m. in the UK to see Kelly and my special angel friend, Nancy Muratala. They're going to be doing the psychic hour together. So some beautiful readings to be had. You don't want to miss that. So have some lunch and head on over. Transcend with Debbie will be on Wednesday, and I'll be back on Embracing Infinity with Debbie and Nancy again next Friday too. So we're having a love fest of the For the Love of Spirit Angels coming on too. And as always, everybody, may all of this love and beauty and togetherness that we've created, and healing, because we've been in a healing space since we came on and started the stream today. You have all been in the healing with the presence of spirit, and all of us together combining in that way without even realizing it. Let us spread that out. Let it multiply infinitely, because there is no limit to healing and to love, so that every form of consciousness, every being in this world and beyond, can feel safe, loved, heard, appreciated, valued, respected, and all good things sweet and loving. So I want to thank each and every one of you for coming on today and being part of this beautiful discussion. Thank you, Dayna. Thank you, Kelly. She's our producer, and she makes all of this flow so well for us, doing all of the hard work in the background. So thank you, Kelly. And all our love to you. Have a beautiful weekend and stay safe and healthy. And with that, we will say goodbye. Thank you. Bye, everybody.